My name is Lily, and I am 29 years old. 20 years ago, my mother made a choice that shaped everything that came after. She chose him. Not dramatically. Not with a declaration or a confrontation or the kind of scene that at least would have given the moment the weight it deserved. Just quietly, practically, with the particular efficiency of someone who has made a decision and is managing the logistics of it. I was 9 years old. His name was Gerald. He had been in our lives for 14 months, a year, and 2 months of Sunday dinners where he sat at the head of our table with the easy confidence of a man who had decided he belonged there before anyone had invited him to stay. A year and 2 months of my mother laughing differently, moving differently, existing in the specific altered way of someone who has decided that this new thing matters more than the previous arrangement. The previous arrangement was us. Me and my brother Callum, 11, quiet, the kind of child who processed things internally and showed the results months later. And my mother. Just the three of us for 4 years after my father left, in the particular tight unit of people who have learned to need only each other because the alternative is needing someone who might not stay. We had been enough. For 4 years, we had been completely enough. And then Gerald. The night it happened was a Tuesday. Gerald had told my mother he didn't want children in his house. Not cruelly, I want to be precise about this, because the precision matters. Not with cruelty or anger or the dramatic villain speech. Just practically. Informatively. The way someone states a preference that they consider non-negotiable. He didn't want children in his house. My mother had called her sister Aunt Ruth, the woman who would raise us, who would become the person I thought of when I thought of the word mother, who had answered the phone at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday and said yes before my mother finished the sentence. I know this because Ruth told me. Years later, when I was old enough to need the whole story, my mother had packed our bags. Not many bags, the kind of packing that happens when someone is thinking about efficiency rather than sentiment. 2 bags each. The things that mattered most. She had driven us to Ruth's house. She had carried our bags inside. She had hugged us both. And she had said, and this was the part Ruth told me with the particular care of someone delivering something they know will land hard, she had said, I'll come back for you. When things settle down. Things never settled down. Or rather, things settled into exactly the shape my mother had chosen, which did not include us. Gerald's house. Gerald's rules. Gerald's life, which had no room for 2 children who were not his and whose presence apparently made him uncomfortable. My mother called every Sunday for the first year. Then every other Sunday. Then monthly. Then not at all. I grew up in Ruth's house. Let me tell you what that looked like. Ruth was 34 when we arrived. Unmarried, no children, the career woman of the family who had built a life that was ordered and purposeful and had not included, until a Tuesday night phone call, 2 grieving children who needed somewhere to be. She did not hesitate. She reorganized her apartment, her schedule, her entire life, not with martyrdom, not with the performed sacrifice of someone who wants credit for their goodness, but with the practical love of someone who has decided that what needs to be done and has started doing it. She was not our mother. She was honest about that, gently, age-appropriately, in the way of someone who respected us enough to tell the truth. She was Aunt Ruth. She loved us. We were hers. And our mother was our mother, absent, choosing differently, existing somewhere in the city in Gerald's house, while we grew up in Ruth's apartment. Callum struggled more than I did. He carried it differently, inward, the way he processed everything. By 15, he had the particular quality of a young man who has learned not to expect things from people and has become very self-sufficient as a result. By 20, he had moved across the country, built a career in engineering, called Ruth every week and me every other week and our mother not at all. I struggled differently. I was the one who kept calling. Every birthday. Every Christmas. Every Mother's Day, the particular cruelty of that one, the specific weight of sending a card to a woman who had chosen Gerald over you and calling it honoring the relationship. I kept calling because somewhere inside 9-year-old Lily was a child who still believed that things would settle down, that she would come back for us. She did not come back. Until Gerald died. I was 28 when he died. A heart attack. Swift, apparently, the way these things sometimes are. And 6 weeks after the funeral, my mother called me for the first time in 4 years. Her voice was the same. That was the thing that hit me first. Her voice was the same. The particular timbre of it. The way she said my name. The specific frequency that belonged to her and had lived in my memory for 20 years, even in her absence. Lily, she said. Mom, I said. I want to see you, she said. I need to explain. I sat in my apartment in the 28-year-old life I had built entirely without her and felt the 9-year-old, still living somewhere inside me, wake up and reach toward the phone. Okay, I said. Not for her. For the 9-year-old. Who deserved, finally, the explanation she had been waiting for. I told Ruth first. Ruth, who was 62 now, still sharp, still the woman who had reorganized her life on a Tuesday night for 2 children who needed somewhere to be. She was retired. She had a garden she tended with the same practical love she had applied to everything. She was the first person I called for anything significant. She called, I said. Ruth was quiet for a moment. How do you feel? She said. Like I'm 9 again, I said. Which I hate. That's fair, she said. She wants to explain, I said. Are you going to listen? I thought about it honestly. Yes, I said. Not for her. For me. Because I've been carrying questions for 20 years, and I'm tired of carrying them. Good, Ruth said. That's the right reason. Are you angry? I said. That she called. Ruth was quiet for a moment. I've had 20 years to be angry, she said. Asterisk, I made my peace with it a long time ago. She paused. Asterisk, what she did was wrong. What she gave up was irreplaceable. And she's going to have to live with that. Another pause. But you, Lily, you don't have to live with her choices. You get to make your own. I called Callum. He answered on the 3rd ring, which for Callum meant he had seen my name and considered not answering and then answered anyway, which was its own kind of love. Mom called, I said. Silence. No, he said. Yes, I said. What does she want? To explain, I said. Gerald died. Another silence. Longer. Of course he did, Callum said. Not with satisfaction. Just the flat observation of someone noting that a predictable thing has occurred. And now she wants back in. She wants to explain, I said again. Same thing, he said. Callum. I'm not angry, he said. Asterisk, I want you to know that. I made my peace with this a long time ago. She made her choice. I made mine. He paused. But I'm not going to listen to explanations for something that can't be explained. It can't be explained, I agreed. But I need to hear her try. A pause. I know, he said. That's always been the difference between us. He was right. Callum had protected himself by letting go completely. I had protected myself by holding on to the question. Different strategies for the same wound. Will you be okay? He said. Yes, I said. Will you? I'm always okay, he said. Which was both true and not true in the specific way of people who have learned to be okay from the outside in. I love you, I said. Love you too, he said. Call me after. My therapist, Dr. Nora, had been seeing me for 2 years. I had started seeing her not because of my mother specifically, but because at 26 I had looked at my relationship patterns, the way I over-explained myself, the way I stayed too long in situations that weren't working. The specific hunger I had for people to choose me explicitly and out loud, and understood that these patterns had a source, and the source was worth examining. I told her about the call. What do you want from this meeting? She said. I want the explanation, I said. Even if it's inadequate. even if it doesn't change anything. I want to look at her and ask why, and hear her try to answer. And then I want to decide, I said. Asterisk, not from the 9-year-old place. From here. From 29, from the life I built, from the person I actually am. I paused. I want to decide what she gets to be in my life going forward. If anything. That sounds right, Dr. Nora said. Does it? You're not going to her for reconciliation, she said. Asterisk, you're going for yourself. To close something that has been open for 20 years. She paused. That's healthy, Lily. That's exactly right. We met at a restaurant. My choice, neutral territory, public space, the particular safety of being somewhere that required a certain level of composure from both of us. She was already there. I had not seen my mother in 4 years, had not seen her properly, with time and space for a real encounter, in much longer than that. The last few years had been brief obligatory Christmas appearances that I had attended for reasons I could no longer fully explain, and that had always left me feeling hollowed out. She looked older. Of course she did. 20 years is 20 years. But it was more than time. She looked tired. Not the tired of a late night. The tired of someone who has been carrying something for a long time and has not put it down. She stood when she saw me. We looked at each other across the restaurant. Lily, she said. Mom, I said. We sat down. The ritual of menus and water and the ordinary social scaffolding of a meal that held the space while something enormous waited. Then I said, tell me. She looked at her water glass. I've been thinking about how to say this for 6 weeks, she said. Asterisk, since Gerald died. 6 weeks of trying to find the words. She looked up at me. I don't think there are good words. I think I just have to say the true thing. Say the true thing, I said. She took a breath. I was afraid, she said. Asterisk, of being alone. Of being the woman whose husband left, whose life didn't work out, who was raising 2 children by herself with no support and no safety. She stopped. Asterisk, Gerald made me feel safe. And I chose that feeling over everything else. She looked at me directly. Over you. Over Callum. Over being the mother I should have been. The restaurant continued around us. You said you'd come back, I said. When things settled down. I know, she said. Did you mean it? She was quiet for a moment. I meant it when I said it, she said. And then things settled. Into the shape I had chosen. And going back would have meant admitting what I had done. And I wasn't brave enough for that. For 20 years, I said. For 20 years, she said. I wasn't brave enough for 20 years. I sat with that. With the image of a woman who had chosen safety over her children and then spent 20 years not being brave enough to undo it. Was it worth it? I said. Gerald. The safety. Was it worth what it cost? She looked at her hands. No, she said. Simply. Without defense. No. It wasn't. The waiter came. We ordered without looking at the menus. The ritual of it. The ordinary mechanics of a meal happening around an extraordinary conversation. I'm not asking for forgiveness, she said when the waiter left. Asterisk, I don't think I've earned it. I don't know if I ever will. She looked at me. I'm asking for the chance to try. To be something. Whatever you'll let me be. I looked at this woman. At my mother, the word still strange in my mouth after everything, still the right word despite everything. At the tired eyes and the hands that had packed our bags on a Tuesday night 20 years ago. I need to think, I said. I need time. Take all the time you need, she said. And Callum. I know, she said. I know Callum is, I know he may not want this. And I understand that. Whatever he decides, I will respect. Good, I said. We ate our meal. Carefully. Imperfectly. 2 women navigating 20 years of absence across a restaurant table. It was not enough. It was not close to enough. But it was real. And real was where things had to start. I told Ruth that evening. She listened to everything, the restaurant, the explanation, the "I wasn't brave enough for 20 years" delivered without defense. When I finished, she said, "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet," I said. "I need to sit with it." "How do you feel about what she said?" I thought about it carefully. "It was true," I said. That's the thing. I could hear that it was true, not managed, not performed, just the actual thing she had been carrying. I paused. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't give back 20 years. But it was true. Truth matters, Ruth said. Yes, I said. It does. Ruth was quiet for a moment. Lily, she said. Can I say something? Always, I said. You have spent your whole adult life being careful about who you let close, she said. Carefully, thoughtfully, with good reason. You learned early that people leave. She paused. But you have sometimes kept people at a distance who wanted to be closer. Because proximity felt dangerous. I sat with that. Are you telling me to let her in? I said. I'm telling you to make the decision from strength, Ruth said. Not from the 9-year-old who is still waiting for her to come back. Not from the adult who has learned to need no one. From the person you actually are, who is brave and clear-eyed and capable of deciding what she wants and meaning it. I drove home in the dark and thought about what I actually wanted. Not what was right. Not what was fair. Not what the 9-year-old needed or the careful adult had decided. What I, Lily, at 29, actually wanted. The answer surprised me with its simplicity. I wanted a mother. Not the one she had been. Not the one who had packed our bags and said she'd come back and hadn't. The one she was trying to become. On my terms. With my eyes open. I called her 3 weeks later. She answered immediately. Lily, she said. I want to try, I said. Not for the past. For whatever comes next. But on my terms. Yes, she said. Your terms. I need honesty, I said. No managing. No softening. If something is hard, we say it's hard. Yes, she said. And Callum makes his own decision, I said. You don't pressure him. You don't ask me to advocate for you with him. Whatever he decides, you respect it completely. I understand, she said. And Mom. Yes. I need it to be consistent, I said. Not when you need something. Not when you're lonely. Consistent. The way you weren't for 20 years. A pause. I know, she said. I know I have to earn that. I know it will take time. It will take a long time, I said. I have time, she said. Whatever you need. We started with Sunday calls. Small. Contained. The kind of contact that could be built on or contained depending on what it revealed. The first call was 20 minutes. Careful. Both of us slightly uncertain. The particular uncertainty of people learning a new language in middle age. The second was 30 minutes. Slightly easier. The third, she made me laugh. I hadn't expected that. But there it was, something she said, a small dry observation about something ordinary, and I laughed the real kind before I could decide whether to. She went quiet for a moment. I've missed that, she said. Your laugh. You didn't have to, I said. I know, she said. I know. 1 year of Sunday calls. 1 year of slow, careful building, imperfect, sometimes 2 steps forward and 1 step back, always honest in the specific way I had demanded, and she had delivered with more consistency than I had expected. She was not the mother she should have been. She was the mother she was trying to become. Those are different things. Both of them real. Callum did not call her. I want to be honest about that, because the story where everyone heals at the same pace is not the true story. Callum had made his peace in his own way, a way that did not include Sunday calls or slow, careful building. He had released her, cleanly and without bitterness, in a way that I respected completely. He called me every other week. We talked about our lives, his engineering, my design work, the ordinary accumulation of adult existence. Occasionally about her. How is it? He asked once. Real, I said. imperfect and real. That's enough for you, he said. Not critically. Genuinely. Yes, I said. For now it's enough. Good, he said. Then I'm glad. That was Callum. Contained, clear, genuinely glad for me without needing to participate himself. We were different people. We had learned different things from the same wound. Both of us were okay. Ruth met my mother in October. I had not arranged it. It had come about through the particular logic of a life in which two important people eventually occupy the same space. My birthday. A small dinner. Ruth had been there because Ruth was always there for the things that mattered. My mother had been there because I had invited her. They had been in the same room for the first time in 20 years. Ruth had looked at her across the dinner table. My mother had looked back. Thank you, my mother said to Ruth, for what you did for them. Ruth looked at her for a long moment. They did it themselves, Ruth said. I just gave them somewhere to stand. My mother nodded. The acknowledgement of someone who understands what they gave away. The dinner continued. Ordinary and significant simultaneously. The particular quality of an evening that contains everything. I want to say something to you. If your mother chose someone else, if there was a night, a decision, a Tuesday that changed everything, I want you to hear this. Her choice was not about your worth. Children blame themselves. It is what children do. They look at the thing that happened and search for their role in it, their responsibility, the thing they could have done differently that would have changed the outcome. There is no such thing. You were 9. You were 11. You were a child who needed to be chosen and were not chosen, and that failure belongs entirely to the adult who made the choice. Not to you. Never to you. And the life you built in the absence of that choosing, the Ruth who reorganized her life on a Tuesday night, the Callum who found his peace, the career and the apartment, and the person you became without the safety net of a mother who stayed. That life is not the consolation prize. That life is the thing. The actual thing. Built by you. From your own materials. Without the net. And if she comes back, if she shows up 6 weeks after the man she chose has died and asks for the chance to try, you get to decide. Not from 9 years old. From now. From the person you built. On your terms. With your eyes open. You were always worth choosing. She just wasn't brave enough to see it. You were brave enough for both of you. You always were. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Did your mother ever choose someone over you? Share your story in the comments. I read every single one. Tell me where you are watching from. I love knowing how far these stories reach. Until next time, you are always worth choosing. Never forget that.